welcome to the first kickoff podcast here with Matt and Al. We haven't decided a name yet. We'll work on that. But so my name's Matt. It's my buddy Al.
Yeah, Alec Fritz.
There you go.
Or Al.
Or Al.
Matt McGuire.
Yep, Al and Matt. Matt and Al. So we're doing our first podcast here. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're just going to wing it, see how it goes. Today is May 28th.
2019.
Shit, yeah, it is 2019. Mm-hmm. Get into it, 9 o'clock at night here. So we're going to just kind of shoot some shit about movies. So let me see what we're going to start with here. Alright, so let's talk about what names we might want for this podcast. So, I'm liking the puns with real, like R-E-E-L.
Something R-E-E-L, right?
So we got real lit, as in like film lit, real lit.
Mm-hmm.
Real film critics, because we're not actually real film critics. Really good movie watchers. Real Movie Watchers Podcast. Are you for real? Get real. General movie banter, which I got that one because I listened to one guy called an Irish dude. He does general banter podcast. I don't know if I'd be stealing from him too much, but it's pretty fun.
I don't know. That might be toeing the line.
Yeah.
Who knows, though?
Probably.
It's only toeing the line if he gives a shit or not.
Yeah,
so.
Which at first definitely won't happen. Real movie banter. And we really don't know shit about movies. Or do know shit about movies.
See, I liked... what was it? Really good movie watchers.
Really good movie watchers.
But then I was like, well, like almost is like too much of a mouthful. Maybe like the real good movie watchers. I do like
shorten
that.
It.
Real good movie watchers.
You can lean towards that.
I mean, it sounds like it just kind of sounds like us a little bit, like
serious but not serious.
Yeah,
talk movies.
I mean,
bullshitting.
Serious enough to start and do a podcast, but not serious enough to like where we need to worry about anything.
Exactly.
Because this is not a podcast where we're going to worry about too much. FYI, everybody. It's going to be
talking shit.
Pretty straight from the hip. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, lean towards those. I got those in bold here on our list.
All right.
And then what else I was thinking of here? So basically, we're just like talking about movies, and I would say that's been like a big part of our friendship is the movie aspect. Where I remember as a kid, like all of our sleepovers, we'd watch a movie pretty much every single sleepover. Birthday parties, go see a movie. Mm-hmm. And then I was thinking on this, so like when we went to college, that was like one way we stayed in touch was like, hey, have you seen this movie yet? Or you gotta check out this movie.
Right.
And so I always liked hearing like what you were checking out. And if you recommended a movie, I was like, oh, it's probably a good movie if Alec recommended it.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I don't even consider myself, especially much more recently in time, to be like that significant of a movie watcher.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just crazy to think how things do add up. They just build up, and all the movies that I already have in my library that I've watched, and everything that I'm kind of interested in, it still kind of revolves all around that. And certainly even a lot of these new streaming, the Netflix originals.
There's so many options now.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff, and even just like the way that television has really taken off. Like it's beyond taken off. We're kind of in that right now.
I have like a movie problem with it. So many like options on demand. I'm like, oh, I'll just put on a movie and watch this on my lunch break, or start this when I'm working out or something like that.
Yeah. So like even though I haven't necessarily considered myself like an extreme movie watcher, I feel like definitely something that still interests me and something that I can easily talk about. We can easily talk about. So
could you estimate how many movies you've seen in your life?
No, not really. I have no idea what it is. I mean, spread between our childhood, all the years that I got super stoned in college, when Netflix just kind of started, they mail you the disc and everything. Me and my buddies would all just get stoned watching movies and stuff. How many rewatches of stuff that I've seen?
Yeah, shoot, how many times you've seen this?
How many, like, all the film classes that I've ever taken, how many movies that I got exposed to then. It's hard to say, compared to other people, probably a blip on the radar, but feels like a lot. Yeah.
I guess it depends, because I have friends, like, that don't watch any movies. I'm like, how are they not seeing these movies? These are like, it's like a staple of certain times. But
and it goes both ways, because there's plenty of times, like you said, it's like, I can't believe you haven't seen that. How have you never seen this movie? But I get that reaction, projected on me from other people sometimes. Like, how have you never seen this? And then some other asshole chimes in like, yeah, have you never seen that? It's like, well, shit. Yeah.
Shoot, that could be a topic we can get into one episode. Just like movies that we should have seen that we haven't.
Right. Movies that everyone tells us is like, how the fuck have you not seen this movie? There's actually one movie that I have right now that I'm borrowing from a guy that I work with.
I was like, my movie in America?
I still haven't watched that one. I need to watch that. Something like Repo Man? Repo the Man, Repo the Opera, Repo Man the Opera.
I know, I've heard there's like 2 Repo Men.
I don't know. Apparently this movie is strange as shit, but, strange as shit in that kind of campy way where you can watch it and enjoy it. Not strange where like...
Strange like Meet the Feebles?
Feel like,
Meet the Feebles is fucking nuts.
Like, strange in the way, like I said, where it's campy and you can watch it, and enjoy it. You want to hit the pause?
Alright, let the dog out of the room. Dog was done with our conversation there.
Yeah.
So, movies. Oh yeah, because I had thought, like, my collection of movies means like that's like something I collect, I guess you'd say. Like, I love having certain movies I have to have, whether it's digital, DVD. I still have all my DVDs.
See, I don't. Blu-rays. But part of the reason I don't have all my DVDs is because they were lent and then never returned.
You lost all of them?
No, lending? But I mean, like some of them just got It's like, hey, can I borrow this? Or I just like, hey, you should really watch this. And then I just never saw him again. Team America would be one where it's like, I wish I still had that movie. Somebody has it.
Was this like from the college days?
Yeah, this was a while back, but
people come and go and forget who has.
But one. I don't really buy movies anymore either. Not hard copy.
Shoot, I haven't either. I mean, sometimes I do it just to have it, but since on demand is so easy. Yeah, I haven't really bought a movie in a while. There's some that I will have to have, which that'll be like, I do want to share like my top 10 must-have movies at some point. Well, let's see.
So, I guess to get kind of back to an introduction of us, we've known each other for how many years now?
Shoot,
like 25 years or something.
Yeah, 32 minus 5.
It's been a long time. Yeah, 32 minus 5. Yeah. Yeah, we're not smart, everybody. Sorry. Yeah, but basically, since you were in kindergarten and I was in first grade,
I had thought. Do you want to share that story?
Well, yeah, we should share that story. So, we both went to the same kind of grade school, which was K through 6. Slater, right?
It was the same grade.
Slater, and so I was born in Korea and was adopted. Already. Yeah. If you can't tell from just listening to my voice,
you can hear it.
If you can't tell, that's that southern dialect of Korea. So, anyway, I'm adopted. We grew up in Lakewood, Colorado, just kind of a suburb of Denver, and that's where we still live right now. That's where we're doing this podcast from.
Didn't go far.
And my white mother, there's a school event, and she,
like a book fair or something.
Yeah, some kind of school event, and I'm like pretty much one of the only minorities around.
You're definitely the only Asian kid.
Yeah, definitely the only Asian kid. So there's this big event going around where there's kids fucking running around everywhere. There's parents everywhere, and my mom spotted your mom, like in the distance somewhere, and your mom is
half Asian, half Japanese.
Yep,
technically, yeah.
Half Japanese, and looks it.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. So my mom got super excited.
Oh, an Asian person.
Yeah. I think in her mind, she's like, oh my God, there's another little Asian child that my little Asian child can like connect with and play with and share something in common with. And so she goes up to Matt's mom and introduces herself, and she asks, so which one's your child? And your mom pointed at you.
Yeah.
And you also have Asian in you, but you...
Quarter. Then you don't see it at all.
You don't see it at all.
I was a large, white, blonde child. My hair got darker, but yeah, I was a blonde, blue-eyed kid.
Right. And my mom got thrown for a wicked loop. She couldn't believe.
But she's like, oh, okay.
And that's, kind of how it started. The racial profiling of you. Of your mom.
My mom,
more.
Yeah. But it was crazy because we had just moved to Lakewood and lived our parents found out we lived right behind each other. And so their parents were like, well, let's get a little play date, even though I don't look like you. And so he came over to my house, and I remember we had our name calling contest, like the first thing we did together.
Throwing those plastic darts at your dartboard, yeah.
That door still has marks from those darts.
Yeah, and that's just how it worked out. That introduction, and then we were neighbors. We lived right next to each other, and then the rest is history. And we ended up doing everything together, growing up together.
Everything except that was the only year we went to the same school together.
Right, yeah. Besides going to the same school.
Exactly, which is funny.
Because I'm a public school brat, and
I went to rich white public school.
Private school. The rich white public school.
Yeah, exactly.
Better known as private school.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it all happened.
And we got into so movies. Back to movies. I know Ninja Turtles was like the big thing we bonded on. So that was my favorite movie, still one of my all-time favorite movies. And I want to have a whole episode just about all the Ninja Turtle movies.
We'll definitely do an episode.
So we've always talked about like our ideal Ninja Turtle movie and what that would look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we were given a lot of free. Our parents were both of our sets of our parents were very liberal in what they allowed us to watch.
We watched so many movies we shouldn't have watched.
We got exposed pretty early to some cool things,
Alien and Predator when we're 8 years old.
Stuff that violence, language, all this kind of stuff.
It's really sex was like the only thing.
Yeah, really sex was the only thing that was kind of more off limits. But we watched just tons and tons of movies.
And I think because we didn't, so like shoot, I'm gonna have a kid soon. I'm like, what movies am I gonna let my kid watch? But we didn't we'd play with our guns and shoot aliens in the house and stuff. But it wasn't like we were acting out in school, like beating on kids and stuff.
Yeah, no, we kept everything in house.
Yeah, we kind of knew that was fake. Like movies were fiction. It was just a story that we could enjoy.
Yeah, and so that's kind of a jumping point from that. I guess I think I'm speaking for both of us. Feel free to interject, but I think that for this podcast, for me and for us, it's going to be sort of part nostalgia and also part
definitely
current as far as movies are concerned, and kind of our thoughts on them. We don't share the same opinions on everything. There is one movie in particular, Ex Machina. I don't know who it's directed by. And
Alex Garland, I think.
Alex Garland, okay. And
his directorial debut.
We both have very different opinions about this movie, and so some of it will be kind of debate, some of it, but all of it's going to be, pretty lighthearted, pretty just straight from the hip. Shooting the shit about movies, and we're hoping that this can just be an enjoyable podcast for us and for those of you listening.
Or you're cleaning the house.
Yeah, driving to work or whatever. Maybe you can kind of agree with us. Certainly, at some point here,
or disagree. I'm sure lots of people are going to disagree.
Set up some kind of email or some kind of social media thing. You can chime in on the episodes and your thoughts about things, and because McGuire has already said, we are not film critics.
No,
we are not film students.
You got close.
Film is something that I was always passionate about growing up, as far as kind of looking at it as a potential profession. That is long past. But I still really am passionate about film, just from a viewer,
that's like what you
just from
kept
enjoying
from it,
it. Yeah, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this podcast. So
exactly. Yeah. And for me, that's sort of my movie, like, because as kids we loved movies, and I always liked stories, and put a movie on, I'm gonna sit there and watch it. But it was my religion and film class in high school that I took, and it wasn't just about like, oh, we're gonna watch God movies. It was about watching movies, and like, the teacher was really good. He had us look for themes that are happening, scene transitions, lighting, foreshadowing, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh shit, there's like a lot that goes on with movies, and that's what really brought me. I was like, oh man, so that they filmed it this way to have this sort of impact, and so that's kind of where I realized like, oh, there's a lot going behind.
I'm kind of the same way. Like once I actually started studying it and kind of getting into the realm, that theater realm, film realm, where, and even just watching, those little like the making of some kind of movie or whatever, and it's like a 1 hour extra thing. To understand the amount of work that goes into making a film is mind blowing. Yeah, I mean, from start to finish, from like just like where the money's going to come from, how it gets casted, how it gets hired through all these different companies that are involved, all the licensing you need. Everything like a student film, it's like everything, and then and this is all just kind of exterior stuff that like you haven't even started shooting the film yet, but all this stuff needs to be figured out. I'm sure you got unions you got to work through, you got agent, you got fees. Like I said, money is going to always be a big part of it. Location shoots, scheduling, everything. What kind of fucking lunch are we going to have delivered every day? All this kind of stuff, and then you haven't even started talking about the actual film that you're making, which is even just as intricate as far as lighting, sound,
and just to point
cinematography.
We do have some personal experience with this.
That's right. I forgot.
Our lovely summer acting camp.
We did go to that
like
summer acting camp. Yeah, I forgot about it.
We were in a movie. A very shitty movie. Lost in Time.
I mean, could it have been any other way? This little acting camp with what it was like 12 of us.
Yeah. I played the nerd, and you were like the ladies guy.
Yeah, still in.
It's stuck. That was fun. That was my fun like behind the scenes moment where because we were drawing dicks and like the end credit pictures and stuff. Yeah. And that's where I was like, oh shit, like when I find Easter eggs in movies now, that's my favorite part. Right. Like, it'd be so much fun to do that.
There's
now.
A dick. Someone drew a dick in there.
Oh shit, that was a lot of fun.
But yeah, you're going to hear a lot of different things on this podcast. Some podcasts are going to be pretty random, maybe a little bit broad in what we talk about. Some are going to be, I think, highly specific. I think, we'll talk about a particular movie, or we'll talk about a particular actor or actress, or a director, or a particular theme going on right now, or just or it can just be very, very broad and very random. So
that could segue. So I wanted to share some topics of things to get into, and if you want to add to them as I go through. Yeah. So start with the nice stuff. So like movies from our childhood. We talk about nostalgia. That's a big part of like movies for us. The Sandlot, things like that. Ninja Turtles, of course. That's part of the reason I want to do a podcast too. Just like I have so many opinions about Ninja Turtles. I want to get out there. And so some other categories include like movies that made us pee our pants. Was laughter. This was so funny. Austin Powers. I died when I first saw that.
Austin Powers, man.
Oh yeah.
People forget how fucking funny that movie was. It was such a big thing.
And we were the perfect age group, being in like middle school when that came out.
And people just forget. It's kind of like I feel like it's something right now easily forgotten. And something you kind of laugh at for being so dumb.
Oh yeah.
But when it came out, man, it was so funny.
I was dying. My face was hurting.
So funny, yeah.
They're on Netflix now too.
Oh,
I watched the second one. I was like, oh shit, this brings me back. I have a thing about I like movies where they say the title of the movie. in the movie.
Oh my god, dude!
That's
you
a
would.
great. Oh man,
fucking
it's so
would.
good. Yeah, I'm like, oh, they said it. They said it. I love it.
Why? Why? Can I? Why? Why do you like that?
I don't know. It's just like
because you don't know what movie you're watching.
No, you
went to go see.
Oh, that's right.
You went to go see Witch, and you went to go see RoboCop, and
Witch.
you're like, you forgot what?
Well, more when they're like subtle ones, like Eternal Sunshine and Spotless Mind. It comes in from like.
Oh, so it has to be like. They
more...
can't just be like, hey, you see that guy over there? Yeah, that's RoboCop. It's not like that.
I mean, that's on one end of the spectrum. The other end's definitely like where it's more just like, oh shit, did they say it? Yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
Oh.
I do want to do
that's gonna be fun to just destroy you on
there's
that
YouTube
one.
There's YouTube clips of like 5 minutes long while movies that do it. I do want to do like what if battles with you of like so maybe like sword wielding characters if they fought who would win. 90s action heroes if they fought who would win. Monster battles, things like that.
Like just the characters from those movies.
Yeah, so you could do like John Wick versus Jason Bourne.
Right.
And then
so it wouldn't be Keanu Reeves versus Matt Damon.
The people? No.
Yeah, okay.
No, the characters, yeah. Well, yeah, what movies gave us boners? AKA movies that we jerked off to. Because that did happen a lot. At least I did that a lot. I don't know about you.
I did that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
there's
one
a few.
time.
There's a few. Fucking... Oh, like Duel movies? And Duel as in... I don't know how to spell which version of Duel. But you have, like Dante's Peak, Volcano, Deep Impact, Armageddon.
The thing that always seems like... Well, the first one comes out and then the second one comes out.
Yeah,
and
didn't
it's
they
like,
just make a movie?
Yeah, it's like a... Yeah, you're right.
There's a huge list of them. When I dug into it, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot. Ants, A Bug's Life, they all come out like the same time.
It's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's plenty of examples of stuff.
Tons
like
of them.
Yeah.
And then like werewolf movies, vampire movies. I love those, that kind of shit. Alien movies. Telekinesis movies. I have a big thing about telekinesis.
I know you do.
It's if I could have a superpower, that's what it'd be, for sure.
I know you have some.
And there's some good ones. There's definitely some good ones.
My girlfriend's making faces.
Getting her Assassin's Creed on. And then, most hated villains. Like the British guy in The Patriot.
Oh.
Hated that guy.
That sack of shit.
Hated him.
He's the worst. He's one of my top villains. Hands down.
Oh, yeah. Where you just like, oh, he's such a good actor, but I hate this guy so much. Joaquin Phoenix and Gladiator. Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically going to be talking about everything. I think that, I hope for everyone listening, that will be the appeal of this podcast, because I know I enjoy it. Just talking about anything. Just talking about anything with you. Yeah, I hope people will enjoy. I guess if you're kind of that very organized, kind of like point A to point, that straight line person, this podcast probably isn't for you.
Like super structured?
Yeah. But if you're, because it is going to be one of those things, we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff.
It's going to be open. And we're figuring shit out as we go. Yeah, because I do think we'll have like a little bit of structure. There'll be times like we're going to talk about these movies, but it could lead off on like a tangent about, this actor and other movies he's in.
Yeah, and I hope as the podcasts go on that we'll just get better and better. Yeah, or maybe it'll stay the same. I really have no idea. But
bottom line is it's going to be at least fun for us.
Yeah.
If it is for anyone else.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, can I pause and get a beer and go pee?
Pause it. I need to use our way into it.
Yeah, which we're back in. All right, good break. Good pee. Got a new beer. Set to go. So I did have some questions I wanted to ask Alec here. Topics of discussion.
I didn't write any questions for you.
Yeah, I know. This is what I was like. Yeah.
All right.
If they come up, you can ask. Well, actually, I asked the questions.
I suppose you could ask me the question. I would be like, "And what about you?"
Exactly, because I answered my own questions here.
You answered your own questions.
Yeah, just to throw it on there. All right. I'll save that one for
That's
last.
cheating, dude.
Oh, just figuring shit out. Oh yeah, and also I just need to make a note. I have to apologize if I mumble sometimes because I am a awful mumbler. So this will be a good practice for me to enunciate clearly and say things so you can understand them. So, yeah, I'll work on that. Apologies ahead of time. All right, so we did kind of talk about what kind of movies, or why we like movies in general. We'll save that one for last. So this one doesn't have to do with recent movies, but what's the best movie you've seen in the last year? But it doesn't have to necessarily mean the movie was made in the last year. It just could be any movie.
In the last year?
In the last year. Maybe like a movie that stands out.
Like in the last 5 months?
No, like 2018.
Like total calendar year?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, dude. I have no idea. What's a movie? All right, I mean... Okay, so I do really like the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Those are badass.
I just watched... Megan had me watch all of those pretty recently, within the last year. I really actually do like them.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Like, those ones that surprise you. You're like, oh, it's going to be a kid's movie. And you're like, oh, shit. This is
they're like
fun.
Surprisingly, well put together, well thought out.
Actually make you laugh. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, actually make you laugh, It's like... I still enjoy that kind of animated stuff that's really kind
kids
of
movies.
Geared towards children. Yeah, but I really do. I love those. I love the Hotel Transylvanias. 1, 2, and 3 are all super solid. I really like those.
So then, what's your favorite like kids animated 3D movie?
3D movie you mean
like CGI? Yeah, like Hotel Transylvania.
I mean, that one's solid. Toy Story is always a classic.
Toy Story, that's got nostalgia.
Monsters Inc. I always been a fan. The Finding Nemo stuff. Not even the Finding Nemo stuff, just Finding Nemo.
Yeah, big Finding Nemo. That's a great one. For me, it's Kung Fu Panda. That one.
Oh, Kung Fu Panda's solid. Yeah. I do love me some Kung Fu Panda. That is great.
The sequels are good too, but that first one, I remember seeing it and I was like, God damn, this is so good.
I've never even seen any of the other ones. I've just seen that first one.
Second one's really fun. Third one's alright. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the first one.
Oh, speaking of which, there is a movie that I saw. A Kung Fu movie. What is it? Is it Kung Fu Hustle?
The like slapstick comedy one from 2000s? Late 90s?
I think it's 2000s. I mean, it's a legit Kung Fu movie though. Kung
Fu Hustle.
It's on Netflix right now. 2004? Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not on your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Kung Fu Hustle. I think Stephen Chow is the director. Is that right?
I have no clue.
Stephen Chow's the director, and he's also one of the main actors.
Stephen Chow.
I guess if you paid attention to like Kung Fu movies, that's kind of what he's all about.
It's a white guy first name and an Asian last name.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, Jackie Chan. Oh, Kung Fu Hustle. So a phenomenal movie. I mean, I wouldn't even just say phenomenal Kung Fu movie. Just a phenomenal movie. I really like that. Perfect blend of like
Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle. Perfect blend of just like comedy and sort of like drama. Good amount of violence. Just enough amount of like awesome martial art kind of violence.
Like well choreographed and shit.
Yeah, and just really cool. I actually really ended up enjoying that movie. Has a really cool arc with the protagonist in that movie, the main character. Just awesome. I would definitely recommend.
Okay, yeah. That one I saw and I was like, oh, it's probably some like cheesy B movie that I'll check sometime when I'm over or something.
It very much has that comedic element to it that you'll find. Where it's like kind of like gratuitous or like over the top with its acting and stuff, but when they do that, I imagine it's all very intentional.
Okay, yeah.
And the way it blends into everything, the comedy. I mean, isn't comedy just by nature is intentional, right? So, when you're
sometimes, yeah.
I mean, maybe not like when you're chatting with a buddy, but like when you're filming something or creating some piece of work or some piece of art, then it has to be intentional. Everything you do is intentional.
True.
So the way they blend the kind of gratuitous comedy and with everything else is it's great. I would definitely recommend watching.
Okay, I gotta add that to my list.
Because it does give you like for me, it did give me like a really good feeling. Like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like
nice.
you know, like it was a movie that
Like
I will say
impact?
it kind of blew me away. Actually, just how much I enjoyed it.
Was that because your expectations weren't set
Well,
high?
I didn't really have any expectations of it. I think that just like me just, you know, completely throwing myself into the movie and just trying to just like really follow the story and the characters and everything going on.
Yeah. Letting it happen.
When you know, came out in the end, it was just like that was an awesome movie.
Like, shit. Yeah, I love that feeling with movies. You're like, oh,
Right?
check this out. It's just random. And then like, oh, shit.
It is the best feeling when you, after a movie, when you just, that was really fucking good movie. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
There's nothing better than to say, I really liked that movie.
No, I watch movies hoping like, and I like movies that.
Oh, sorry.
You don't interrupt me ever again.
I'll be doing that quite a bit,
Yeah.
I feel like.
But yeah, movies that I'm like, a lot of my friends don't like. That was crap. But like, I try to find stuff I like in movies. But there are some movies that I'm like, oh, I couldn't do that. That was just not good.
And,
But
you know,
I'm easy with them.
I think really the best kind of movie is a movie that, despite its flaws, you still are like, that was badass.
My bottom line is, as long as I got entertainment value out of it, it's worth something. And then there's like the next tier levels, like, you know, like for sci-fi, like Arrival. Arrival's like, holy shit, I was blown away with how cool
Oh,
it
we
was.
are going to have an Arrival episode.
That'll be, that deserves its whole episode. All right, next question. So I know you initially wanted to get into movies back when we were young and full of dreams.
Back before life came
exactly
crushing down.
Before adulthood just took a shit on you. So if you could have any role as part of a film production or making a movie, what would that be? It's like actor, director.
Oh, director
screenwriter.
for sure.
Director? Yeah? Why's that?
No, I mean, fuck that shit. Writer and director.
For the same movie?
For the same movie. And
Dual role.
I guess that's it. Just writer and director.
Just because you like creating stories and
Well,
have
I would
like
like
a
to be
vision
able.
for it?
Well, I would like to be able to write something, and then direct it to where, like, so if I wrote something and then had directorial power with it, it would be one of it would be one of those things where, you know, the things that I really envisioned for it while I was writing it, I could duplicate.
It's like
from
what
the
you see in your
director
head,
chair.
you could,
Yeah. And also, the flip side on that would be like, okay, so the things that, like, you know, the things that as I'm reading the script, I would be like, you know what? Like, what I originally thought about that doesn't work anymore. So now this is what we're going to do. But it's a weird thing because I've done that before when I was in school, when I directed my own show, or wrote my own play.
Yeah,
I wrote my own play,
Mm-hmm.
and then I directed my own play.
I remember watching that play.
And it was one of those things where everything played out exactly how I wanted it to. Because I had complete control over every little detail. But one of the cool things about art, and I think especially about film, is that there's so many working components to it. You know, how does everyone interpret it? You know, how does the set designer interpret it? How do the actors interpret it? How does the director, the cinematographer? Yeah. So there is, I will say, there is something kind of really cool and special about, let's see, if you wrote a script and it didn't get chopped to a million fucking pieces like everything in Hollywood seems to these days, and you have 4 underwriters cleaning up your work. You know, like if you wrote the script and it stayed intact, there's something very cool about just passing that off and having somebody be like, okay, this is my vision for that.
Yeah.
But, you know, also, you know, they could completely destroy it, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
just
like
happened
too many people working
to
on
my
it,
baby. What did you just do?
Complete control. So would you? Because I remember watching that play when we were in high school, and you had like your own little part where you came out at the very end on that little train or whatever. Would you like have little cameos in your movies?
No, I'm not a big cameo guy.
They don't make it go, oh shit, cameo.
Yeah, I don't like. It's just fucking stupid. The little thing where I just pop out with some fucking sunglasses on and be like, make some dumb comment like, "Go get him, cowboy," or something. Like it's kind of like with the Marvel things with the Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah,
I understand.
That's like a staple of them.
I understand that. It's. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice way to pay tribute to the man who created all of this, or most of it. But at the same time, it's like one of those things. Is like that was like completely unnecessary.
There's some good ones though.
If you took all the fucking cameos that you did of Stan Lee, you could have made one of those Marvel movies better. What? By like dedicating that extra time, that extra cameo time to explain a scenario or to show another sequence, like action sequence or something. It's just like.
What about cameos though? And we'll get back to questions after. But cameos, I love. So you've seen the second Deadpool, right? Deadpool 2.
I've seen about half of it.
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna work.
I was drunk as shit and passed out about halfway through.
Okay, well then you gotta check it out again. But Matt Damon has a great cameo in that one.
Okay.
You don't even know it's him. I like those kind of cameos.
No. Well, that's a different kind of cameo. That's a cameo where it's
here's
like,
a cameo on your face.
That's a completely different kind of cameo. That's a cameo that adds to the story. Having a cameo where like. You're like walking out of a door. You got fucking jelly donut all over your face, and then you just you say something like, "Whoa, how about that?" That's not that's a waste of.
Doesn't do it for you?
No, I mean, how much did that cost you? Like $2,000 to shoot that stupid thing.
I never think about price.
Oh my god, the gratuitous cameos. I can't stand that shit.
Fair play to you. All right. So for me, what I would do if I was part of a film production, especially just my art background, I've always liked creating stuff, especially drawing. I would like to do set or costume design, like thinking about even like stage productions. I'm like, man, it'd be so fun to make those. Or when I watch behind the scenes on stuff, like the Game of Thrones things, where people were making like all of the fake dead bodies that they had to move around in like the Battle of Winterfell. Like that'd be so fun to like make just little things are gonna be. Maybe it's only in the movie for half a second, but like just like work on that. And that's your job every day. Just like create.
So
cool looking
you want to be the guy that gets yelled at?
I guess so.
I want to be the guy that does the yelling.
Well, I hope they'd go. I want it to look like this. Say it nicely. I don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah. Doesn't always work that way.
So that or like I don't know who does the music on movies, but for me, music is like a huge part of movies as well. There's like a good soundtrack or like a good score for a certain scene.
How the hell do you get that job?
I don't know. I have my Shazam ready when I'm at home watching movies.
How the hell do you get the job to be the soundtrack supervisor for the movie?
Like for the slow-mo scene, we're gonna have this Crystal Method song. I'm like, I think that's so cool. That like amps that movie.
See, that's something as a director I would take control of.
You control everything.
Yeah, when I say director, I think I closely mean dictator. Yeah. I would be that. I guess that Michael Bay douche that would just
So you dictate
everything. Maybe. Well, according to stories, according to legend, Michael Bay is sorry, Michael. I know you'll be listening attentively to this.
He'll be our first listener. All right. Next question. If a movie was made about your life, what kind of movie would it be?
Oh God.
So it'd be like genre, comedy, drama, mixture.
I guess if I guess I'd want it to be a drama, but it would probably play out like some cheap indie, very forgettable kind of deal.
Like what did I just
where
watch?
You watch that and you walked out of the theater and you look at your buddy and you're like, ugh.
What was the point?
You're just like, ugh, God.
Okay, I can see that. Let's see. Mine would be a heartfelt white people comedy. Rated, but it's rated R for crude language. And
you wouldn't be Medea's family Thanksgiving or whatever?
We're pretty white life for even being part Asian. It's pretty white.
Yeah, well, you're not allowed to make those movies anymore. You know that, right?
No.
Not today.
It wouldn't be that good. Pretty easy. All right. So what is your favorite genre of movies? So like, you go to the movies, you're in the theater, the trailers start. What kind of movie just really puckers your asshole? Shit, yeah.
That's a tough one because picking a favorite movie genre would be kind of like picking a favorite food.
We can have like your top favorites. It doesn't be just one.
Well,
like, I want to see that movie.
I mean, I can appreciate like a lot of different things, but if I think about some of my favorite movies, science fiction is right up there.
Totally.
Things like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, movies like
sci-fi fantasy,
Interstellar, Arrival, Aliens, all that kind of stuff.
So like fiction, fake stories, like not like
fiction, fake stories, or like even just stories that could be based in reality. Obviously, they take exception to that realistic bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But I even really appreciate movies that are like, people kind of live those kind of lives and do those kind of things. Even though it's not necessarily based off of anyone in particular, maybe it is, maybe
it's
it
like
isn't.
A realistic fiction.
But yeah, movies like The Wrestler, for example.
I need to add that to my list. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I have it. You should borrow it. The Wrestler, fantastic. I love that movie. But I also like Donnie Darko. I also like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But there's a flip side. Yeah.
Would you say it's similar to the kind of books that you like?
Well, I've always been more of a science fiction book guy.
Same.
Of course. And in fact, I think that goes back to what I was saying. Like, also, like, books like The Great Gatsby, or like books like Steppenwolf.
Oh, Great Gatsby was awful.
Oh, I love that. Or, a book like Steppenwolf. Like, books, just like the books, like movies where, like...
it's like an interesting character and shit happens
I think for me, as long as you're telling a good story, and isn't this what it always comes back to? As long as the story is good... you have my attention. Like, and it might not be anything that I can relate to or know about, but I like to imagine myself. I like to get that kind of insight into that world, no matter how fictitious and made up that it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun for me to put myself in those shoes and in that world and in that kind of thing. I think that's probably why like all the gangster movies and crime movies are always seem to be so popular too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a life that the majority of us lead, and so we're kind of drawn to that.
Like, see it, like, vicariously live through the movie, like the characters in the movie, what they do. Yeah, no, the stories. I mean, that's why we like anything, books and movies. Yeah. Stories for sure.
I mean, it is an escape. You do want that escape element to it.
Yeah. So if I forget where I am,
anything that can put pause on your fucking bullshit going on in your real life is good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
I
agree. Comedies do that too. It doesn't.
Oh yeah.
I really do enjoy movies with great weight, like even like maybe even to the point of over dramatic.
We can only watch it once because you're like, fuck.
Yeah, you can only watch it once. Yeah. But, there's a flip side to that. I just said earlier, I really enjoyed the Hotel Transylvania movie. So it's a broad spectrum for me.
Yeah, that's why they're all great. Yeah. So I would agree. Yeah, the stories, that's what brings you in. And I just find, for me, it's like the sci-fi fantasy for sure. I just find those to be always like more engaging and like, I want to live in this world. It's like fake. You can do shit you can't do in the real world.
Right.
I like that aspect of it. And then, action, comedy. I see those trailers. I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be like hyped up. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, and a lot of that, it is. A lot of that does come from that kind of escapist mindset.
Oh yeah, that's a big one for me. The escapism. That's why I like reading stories and movies, shows. It takes you out of your element. Kind of like, oh shit, I can go somewhere else for a while. Cool. All right. We can pause it there. All right. So let's get to the last question. I think we'll call that an episode and go from there.
Finish the episode.
So what are some of the most recent movies you've seen, and what did you think of them?
Okay, so the most recent movie I've seen, besides... all right. So the most recent movie I saw at home was The Nun.
Right.
Oh my god, dude. Not a good movie.
Is it one that being in the theater would have made it any better?
Maybe that... I do think that does make a difference. Yeah. Movies like, watching Avatar in the theater is going to be a different experience. But at the same time, I just feel like The Nun, I don't know, man. It just wasn't good. I love The Conjuring. I know we already talked about this. I love The Conjuring. And I really did like The Conjuring. But The Conjuring 2 and all the other fucking spinning around bullshit to this kind of Conjuring world they've created. Like The Nun, I had high expectations for.
Oh, maybe that's your problem.
That's probably the problem. And it was just not good, dude.
What time of day did you see it?
I watched it. Come on.
Night, all the lights out?
Yeah, I watched it like at night, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Some candles lit.
Had the pentagram up. No, I mean, I just didn't like it. Primarily because it didn't carry, the story itself just didn't carry all that well for me. I didn't care about anybody that was involved except for the apprentice nun in the movie. I'm sorry. You're going to hear this a lot on our podcast. Me going like, I don't know the name of this person.
We can at some point we'll get like our.
I'm almost positive that she is the girl who is part of the American Horror Story franchise.
But not what's your name?
Not Julia Roberts' niece, and not the older ones. The
young
one that was in the very first season.
She has been so long since I've seen
Anyway, I'm almost positive she plays the apprentice nun, and that's the only character I gave a shit about. And that's the problem, is because there were two other characters, primary characters in that movie that I could care less about. And I already told you this too before when we were having our own private conversation. I don't have a problem with jump scares. In fact, I think they're actually a crucial element to a horror film.
Okay.
In my opinion, I would be disappointed without a couple of jump scares.
I'll give you that. A couple,
especially when they're timed right and executed well. It really does work. But for me, this movie just had some jump scares that didn't deliver. It made me kind of like do the little shoulder like, nah.
Yeah, you knew it was coming. Like, oh, shit, okay.
But it's coming. It was like, oh, okay. But there was no like overwhelming thing that just kind of hung on me afterwards. There was nothing that was like.
Nothing you took home with you. You're like, oh shit.
No, it was. There wasn't. It told a story, but it didn't add any crucial elements to the story.
So there's no depth.
There's the story with these kinds of movies like The Nun and everything, and it is very much a story, in my opinion, about like good and evil. You're putting yourself into that religious realm where there is a very distinct good and evil, heaven and hell.
Would it scare you more if you were more religious?
Quite possibly. Yeah. But like I said, it's an escapist thing for me too. So I have no problem
believing in that
thinking
world,
about religion in that kind of sense. That's not an issue for me. But there's just no meat on it. It's all bone and no meat. And it's like it was just really dull. It didn't capture my imagination at any point. It didn't deliver a kind of spookiness that I expect from a horror film, where I'm just like, even as a grown man, where I'm like,
Like you're glad to have your girlfriend
it's
sitting
like,
next to you.
yeah, it's like, yeah, what was that noise outside? Like,
That's what happens in adulthood. It's just crazy.
You know, it's like, oh, that's the win.
It's fine. It's fine.
It just didn't matter. So that was the last movie I saw at home. Last movie I saw in the theater was Avengers Endgame, which I intentionally waited for because we just saw this, I think, a week ago, Megan and I.
You saw Captain Marvel first?
No. I still haven't seen Captain Marvel. And I knew I didn't need to.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see Captain Marvel. I knew to complete the Avengers lexicon or whatever the fuck you would call it.
Yeah, that's true.
So we saw that in the theater. And, okay, so I don't even know if Megan knows this. I fell asleep. But but don't get me wrong. I liked it. I liked it. Me falling asleep, it's not
because it's a 3-hour movie.
It's not a direct reflection of the movie. What happened is that we were gonna go see the movie, okay, but we had some time before, and we went to Outback Steakhouse, and I proceeded to drink about 30 ounces of beer before we went in. And we went in there, and they had the reclining seats and everything.
You got too comfortable.
So we went in there, and I'm admittedly, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling a little buzzed. And let's see, we're watching the movie, and yeah, I think I dozed off for about 10 minutes. Just like out. But then I feel like I woke up in enough time. Like, I woke up.
You still knew what was happening?
I think I missed the part where they found Thanos and, like, killed him.
Thanos, yeah.
And then Thanos? Is it Thanos?
It's Than, yeah. Continue.
Okay. So when they killed Thanos, I think that's when I woke up.
The first time?
So it was still the only time. I only fell asleep once.
They killed him in the beginning, and then they killed him.
Yeah, like we literally watched the previews, and then I think I fell asleep. So what is that? Like 10 or 15 minutes?
Pretty early.
So I was passed out for all that, but the rest of the movie was great, man.
Oh, good. You got a little power nap.
I think it tied in some, the whole universe pretty well. It got a little gratuitous with the goodbyes at the end, which I feel like is unavoidable.
Kind of has to, yeah.
It's like Return of the King. It's
What's
like,
Return of the King?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh no,
Return of the King.
No.
When there's like the 1 hour goodbye where it's shows where everyone's
going. Was that the third
going.
one, the movie that came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that was long.
That was a long ending, right? Yeah. So not that quite long, but it had kind of shades of that where it's like funeral, and these two are doing this, and these two go here, and this guy does this.
There's a lot of characters together.
It's like, it's a way for them to kind of say, oh, this is the goodbye for everybody. So I could have done without that, but the movie itself, obviously, very entertaining. Great battle scene at the end.
It was fun, man. I enjoyed it.
Fun to watch in the theater. I will say that one thing I did realize about Marvel and like the way they decided to do everything with this is that they fill in all the gaps for you almost to the point of like treating you like you're dumb. But maybe there's a reason they do this. It's because like what I realized is like, so I still have not seen Ant-Man or that Ant-Man and Wasp.
And the Wasp, yeah.
But like when he comes into the picture, Paul Rudd, when Ant-Man comes in the picture, and then I guess Wasp, which was his wife or something.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, close. But here's the thing, like whether it's his wife or not doesn't matter. Like the looks that they share together, like the moments, the scenes that they have together, where they like intentionally like share this like 2-second look with each other and like all this kind of stuff. It's like the way they set it up is like you really don't have to see those movies to fill in the details.
I guess the ultimate end of that. Yeah,
you can fill in
some depth
all the details to everything. It's like, oh, these two are also superheroes who also have a relationship, and here they are.
Yeah.
It's was it necessary for me to see those movies? I mean, someday I will, but it wasn't necessary for me as far as from a plot standpoint.
No, from the plot, no. It just added, a little more depth on that end.
But you know, I just said that, and now that I think about it, like just now, I guess if you hadn't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff and all the Gamora and all that kind of stuff, you would be a little bit.
That's a big one.
That would be a little confusing to you had you not had that background story.
Yeah, that part is necessary for sure. Definitely.
Okay, so I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Those are the most recent things I've seen within the last couple of weeks. So, have you seen anything like super recently? Like,
yes, actually, this past weekend, Ellen and I, my wife, we watched Sorry to Bother You, which I kind of had high expectations for.
See, I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
Some claimed it is like the next Get Out movie, basically. I didn't think it was anywhere near as good as Get Out. Is it
directed by...
No. Oh, okay. The fuck's his name? He's like a rapper turned director, actor.
Ice-T?
No.
It's not Ice-T. Okay.
I don't know if you'd recognize his name either. But it was weird. I liked some of the filming, like what they did in the movie. It was kind of reminded me of The Science of Sleep and how just the way it was filmed was really cool. I like that. But the story it didn't draw me in that much. So I was like, meh. And then, I saw Endgame, Captain Marvel, and I listened to a different movie podcast, The Rewatchables, and they talked about, I listened to the Major League one, the movie Major League.
Right.
So I rewatched
Classic,
that. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. And that one, that's just a great...
That's a shout out to The Rewatchables, by the way.
Yeah, you got to support, props out to where you get your influences from. But and John Wick 2, because I do want to go see John Wick 3.
I never saw John Wick 2. I love the first one, though.
First one's great, Second one's also good. Fuck yeah.
John Wick kind of reminds me, even though I haven't seen the second one, I can kind of imagine it being like a Taken franchise.
But like a million times better.
Well, the first Taken was great.
First one was good.
Wow.
Yeah. Then they kind of got, John Wick, that one surprised me.
It maintained on that second one.
Yeah, big time. Even gets a higher rating in the second movie than the first one. I think the first one's usually always the best ones.
Oh, okay.
Except for Planet of the Apes, the new ones. The first one with James Franco it's good. I enjoyed it, but Dawn.
The James Franco one's okay.
Yeah. Have you seen those three?
I don't think I saw the third one.
Third one's good. Yeah. The second one, Dawn of Planet of the Apes, was by far that was the best one.
Oh, another movie I saw, A Time to Kill. I watched that again for the first time the other day.
Where have I heard about that one?
Samuel L. Jackson, Matthew McConaughey.
When did this come out?
Yeah, this came out in 1994? Do I have that date right? Sometime I feel like early 90s. Okay, Matthew McConaughey, Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Spacey, who yeah,
still a good actor.
Yeah, we should probably have a conversation about him on some episode.
Oh well, yeah, all those, yeah.
God, why can't I remember her name right now?
Beats me.
I should really know her name. Gravity, Blindside.
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and Sandra Bullock's in it too.
Okay, I remember hearing about it. I just haven't seen it yet.
Oh, and what is it? Kiefer Sutherland's in it. He plays a white supremacist Ku Klux Klan kind of crazy dude. A Time to Kill. Have you never seen this movie?
So I got to add to my list: The Wrestler, Time to Kill.
Okay, well you don't need to add this as any kind of must-watch list.
Oh, I need a list. I got to keep a list.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's not part of a must-watch list. Even though the acting lineup is stellar, the movie itself it's an odd one, dude. For a movie with the content it's about, which is basically about this little black community, I think back in the 60s, I think, and
it's set in the 60s.
Yeah, and a couple of Ku Klux Klan rednecks roll through this community, and they end up raping and almost killing this little
Jesus
girl,
Christ.
which happens to be the daughter of Samuel L. Jackson. And then
he's gonna be pissed.
They're about to go to court to get like arraigned or whatever, and he goes in with a machine gun and kills both the dudes who did it. And then the whole story changes over to him and like how his trial is gonna go for him doing that. Like for a story that should be just so straight lined, it's just kind of an odd thing that happens. You really have to suspend your belief quite a bit to watch this movie.
That's descriptive. Okay.
But spoiler alert.
Yeah.
The world's still racist. So
there you go. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess let's wrap that one up there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll just say I had a good time doing this. Yeah. This is our very first episode.
Good breaking through.
We hope you guys enjoyed the episode too, and we hope everybody can find some kind of enjoyment out of this podcast and keep listening, because we'll keep churning them out.
Keep fucking around with it and see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.